Hello, friends. This is John with Honor Services. I want to talk to you a minute today about the new Citizens 4-point form that's been released. We're in the process of rolling it out in our company. We're looking at the different options with it and how to tweak our form a little bit, but I wanted to share some of the interesting items on it and how it might affect your clients and you get insurance. Here's the Citizens Personal Lines Bulletin that came out. And you'll notice here that they want everybody to start using this form immediately. And then after September 1st, 2018, they will not accept forms that don't meet this criteria. So, of course, they also say underwriting may request additional information for underwriting actions. Anyway, here a couple different changes here. One of the things, some of which we've done in the past, they've asked for under the cabinet drains and plumbing and exposed valves that's like underneath the sinks. They've asked for pictures of those. They do have a legal disclaimer now on the form. We've always had something similar, but we added theirs to our form. The electrical system, they now require more specific information and whether the amperage is sufficient, which we've always kind of done anyway. And they want to know any hazards present as that section has been expanded. They expanded the HVAC section to include servicing and inspection date, meaning they want to know when was the unit last serviced or inspected. And they're also asking a question regarding blockage or leakage. This would be like the condensate line. Has it backed up into the house and leaked? Is there staining, wood decay, active moisture? Now, we're not sure how this is going to play out in the long term with the insurance companies, but you better believe that at some point, if somebody's going to write that there's blockage or leakages or stains, wood decay, that they're going to have at least more questions. They want to know on the plumbing system if there is a temperature pressure relief valve on the water heater and the water heater location. We've always included those so it doesn't affect us too much. The inspectors must also include condition of listed appliances. So they're asking, are the appliances in good working order? Now they're not asking every appliance, but they're asking quite a few. They're also asking any visible signs of damage or deterioration section has been expanded a little bit. So that's just on their bulletin there. So here we have the instructions for the 4-point form. And you'll notice it says this is a sample 4-point inspection form, which basically says they don't want you to use this form. They want you to create your own with the similar information. This specific form is not required. Any other report will be acceptable as long as it has the same level of detail. So photo requirements, they now on the 4-point are asking for each side of the house before they used to ask for the front and the rear, each slope of the roof. Before I think it was 2 pictures or 3 pictures. We always did 4, but so each slope of the roof. Plumbing, they're asking for the water heater on cabinet, drains, as we mentioned already, drains and exposed valves. Now, one question there was exposed valves. They're not specifically asking, but shower valves are exposed usually, or tub valves. So we'll see how that plays out. They want the main electrical panel and interior door. They want to be able to read the label, and they want to see inside. They want the electrical box with the panel off, meaning they need to see inside the panel. All the hazards or deficiencies. So interesting enough, it doesn't change a whole lot as far as photo requirements, but it does change a few things. I'll come back to this, but they specifically talk about what an inspector is, and it's required to fill out the form. Acceptable condition meaning that the system must be working as intended and no visible hazards or deficiencies. So they've clarified a few things, but most of the time we did that anyway. They've expanded the additional comments or observations section a little bit, identified types of updates, dates completed and by whom, any visible hazards, deficiencies, any system determined not to be in good working order. So basically they're asking us to comment on more items. So here's our 4-point form. We took the sample form they sent out, we modified it a little bit, updated it a little bit, clarified a few things, but you can see right at the top here, we had a disclaimer before, but we expanded upon it and added their disclaimer to ours. So That's there. The electrical system, the first system here, they're asking for total amps, but they're also asking for secondary panels, which we've always kind of included. I put plenty of room in here for comments, but they want to know again if the amperage is sufficient for current usage. Total amps, of course, we have them listed here, so we kind of made our form like that. Then indicate presence of any of the following: cloth wiring. So I did put a comment box right next to that with some drop downs. The reason for that is talking to some of the people, especially as citizens, they're not looking for all types of cloth wiring. They're not really looking for rayon covered wire, which is the rayon over thermoplastic, which is popular in the 60s and 70s. They're really looking for the cloth covered rubber, which includes some of the tin copper or the knob and tube, that kind of cloth wire where it's really just covered in cloth or deteriorated rubber. So they also want to know again if aluminum branch circuit wires are there. If it's a single strand, they want remediation and separate documentation, which we've always done. Connections, if they've done connections with coupling connectors or the lumicons. Hazard presence. There's a bunch of different hazards here. I put a big text box here so we can explain a lot of them, and if it's satisfactory or unsatisfactory. So things like any unsafe or exposed wiring, double taps, overfusing, scorching, improper grounding, those are all getting labeled as hazards and will require to be most likely be required to be fixed. Supplemental information, panel age, last time the panel was updated, which is an interesting question. The model and brand, so we have drop downs for that. Wiring type, they did have a spelling mistake here. I fixed that on our form, but copper, non-metallic, BX, or conduit. Moving over to the AC system, they just want to know if it's central AC and heat. If not, what's the primary heat source? So we have some other questions here, as in good working order, date of last servicing or inspection. So again, I'm not sure how this is going to play out in the future, but it's something we probably should be telling our clients. Make sure you're keeping those records at this point. Hazard presence, wood burning stove or central gas fireplaces not properly or professionally installed. So they're considering that a hazard. Space heaters used as a primary heat source. Is the source portable? Now here's an interesting one. Does the air handler, condensate line, or drain show any signs of blockage, leakage, including water damage to the surrounding areas? And I'm not sure how they're going to handle past problems, but you know, we see a lot of houses where it leaked years ago or a year ago and they had it fixed, but the stain is still there. You know, maybe there may be a little bit of wood decay, a little drywall damage. So we left a nice little comment box here so we can fill that out. But that may be something that comes back later on. So they also want to know the age, last updated. So they of course want the photos that we've always done. So moving on to the plumbing section, they're looking for the temperature pressure relief valve, any indication of active leaks, indication of prior leak. So that's interesting. Now, I'm assuming they're discussing the water heater here, but because it's all in the same section, so that's my assumption there. Now for the general condition of the following plumbing fixtures and connections of appliances. So they've added the dishwasher, refrigerator, washing machine, water heater, tubs and showers. So they want to know if they're satisfactory or unsatisfactory or not applicable. Toilet sinks, sump pumps, main shutoff valve. That's an interesting one because we a lot of times don't like to touch those in case they start to leak, but they want to know if it's satisfactory or unsatisfactory. So, and any other visible plumbing. So they want to know the age of the plumbing supply system. So they ask for plumbing systems. I have broken it down to two sections on my form. I have drain systems and supply. They present different problems, but mainly because we have a lot of lawyers in the area that would like to sue insurance companies for drain systems that aren't working that possibly could flood the house. So I broke them out. I'm not sure how that'll play out. We've always listed them on our 4 points, so they're still there, but I made a match. So then we got the main supply materials, and of course we know we got our typical problems with polybutylene, maybe PEX. So those are there, and then our main waste or vent noticed. And you see it says notice. It doesn't mean that I can see them all, but we talk about cast iron, brass, that kind of stuff. So cast iron being the biggest problem with leaks and deterioration. So then coming to the roof section, they want, again, we mentioned it again, they want photos of each roof slope. So that's interesting. They want to know the covering materials. Again, I added my drop downs like I normally do. The age, remaining useful life, nothing really has changed there. Date of last roofing permit, date of last update, I guess that could be a repair. And if updated, check full replacement or partial replacement. So this could create a problem here because we can have a roofing permit for a full replacement and then an update like after a storm. So that can get very confusing. We're just going to have to comment on that on the bottom here. So overall condition, satisfactory, unsatisfactory. Checking signs for deterioration. And then you'll see there's a spot here for hail damage, spots and soft spots in the decking, missing loose cracked tabs or tiles, exposed felt, exposed asphalt, excessive granule loss, cupping or curling, cracking. So, and then one interesting question they're asking here is visible signs of leaks. But they're not just saying that, they're asking also on the attic underside of the decking, which means that every inspector is going to have to fully inspect the attic, I guess as much as possible, and interior ceilings. So they also listed it in the secondary roof section. So they pretty much match up. Obviously, you could have a shingle on, dimensional shingles on one side, and then a flat roof with, like, say, a modified bitumen, or you could have tile over here, something like that. So that would be pretty typical. So I have two different comment sections and a comment section down here. So that's pretty much the form, how we've broken it out. Putting together a class for inspectors right now to go over some of this stuff in a little more detail. But if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. It's HonorServices, and our email is right here if you'd like to contact, or our phone number is 321-327-2950 if we can answer any of those questions for you. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.